Welcome back. This material digs deep into the evidence to debunk conspiracy theories around Charlie Kirk's assassination, defending his legacy and team, and nailing down the facts about the killer and accomplice. Powerful stuff. But let's jump right into maximizing its impact, starting with tone. Okay, so the material's overall style, while clearly passionate and definitely driven by some compelling evidence, it frequently shifts into this really intense personal rhetoric. And that swing, while it unintentionally dilutes the persuasive authority of the facts you're presenting.
Yeah, I saw that right away. I mean, the strength here is definitely the meticulous detail. You got overwhelming objective data, forensic stuff.
Right.
Like the DNA on the trigger, the shoe impressions, right? Robinson's Converse, right? And the ballistics expertise that just dismantles those perfect shot claims. It's really solid.
Mm-hmm.
But then, almost immediately after laying out those hard facts, the voice just pivots. It gets super emotional.
And that's the weakness, isn't it? This authoritative presentation gets undercut by really charged language aimed at the conspiracy theorists, calling them stupid idiot or, phrases like y'all retarded.
Right.
That kind of thing. Well, maybe cathartic for the writer. It doesn't actually persuade someone who might be on the fence,
Okay, but is there a danger then? If you strip all that intensity away, does it become too cold? I mean, given the subject matter, defending someone's legacy like this, it's inherently emotional.
That's a fair point.
So the suggestion isn't about being emotionless. It's more about adopting let's say, a more consistent, clinical, and objective voice, specifically when you're recounting the established facts or the police and psychological analysis.
Exactly. That's the key distinction. We want just the sheer strength of the evidence itself, which is frankly devastating in the tech, to do the heavy lifting, to carry the persuasive weight.
Okay.
You can still use that strong emotional language, but maybe reserve it. Save it solely for those high-impact concluding thoughts or for genuine calls to positive act.
So, for instance, when you're detailing complex stuff, like Tyler Robinson's confession over a Discord, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the FBI figuring out that the World War I weapon, which conveniently didn't have a serial number.
Right.
Let it fit perfectly into his backpack. Deliver those kinds of details with the measured confidence of, an objective analyst.
Yeah, don't immediately follow up a forensic fact with some kind of exclamatory judgment about how dumb the conspiracists are.
Let it breathe.
Let the facts do the work. The DNA, the palm print from when he jumped off the building, the fact his own parents turned him. Let that land. The objective truth here is brutal enough. Your clinical authority just maximizes its impact. Okay, moving to our second critique. This material, wow, it's gathered an incredible amount of data about the alleged accomplice Lance Twigs.
It really has.
But a significant opportunity is missed, we think, to strategically weave that meticulous psychological analysis of Twigs into the core cultural argument you're making against radicalization.
Yeah, the depth of info on Twigs is quite unique, isn't it? Pulled from anonymous peer Discord logs, apparently.
Right.
And you get these details about his mental state, the heavy substance abuse, DMT, shrooms, the black market HRT use, this whole mental breakdown, referred to with terms like gifted kid burnout.
Mm-hmm.
The material kind of sums it up as him being a complete psycho-schizo.
But the weakness here is that this really rich data is treated mostly as descriptive color, like a collection of oddities confirming he was unstable.
Okay.
Rather than functioning as a structural explanation for how we got radicalized. And for a lot of readers, some of the jargon you use, like the nest phase or orchid denialism, it's just opaque. They won't know what that means.
Right. We need to unpack those a bit, conversationally. So, orchid denialism, based on these logs, seems to refer to this deep kind of political paranoia tied up with body image issues and hormonal flux, right?
Yeah.
And the nest phase sounds like this profound withdrawal, total isolation fueled by the substance abuse. The material needs to explicitly show how these really volatile psychological symptoms, the paranoia, the isolation, the hormonal chaos, were precisely what made him vulnerable to radical political ideology.
So the suggestion is to frame that Twigs-Robinson dynamic not just as, hey, here are two unstable guys, but as a detailed, evidence-based case study. A case study in politically driven psychosis. You've got to build a clear structural link between the documented mental illness and the specific ideology that basically weaponized it.
And building on that, the argument gets way more powerful when you put the symptoms right next to the political goals. You mentioned the anxiety tied to that gifted kid burnout thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the resulting paranoid fixation on the government, the CIA, Zener cards, all that.
Yeah.
Link those specific symptoms of paranoia directly against the material stated political targets, like Charlie Kirk's pro-Israel stance, Christian Zionism.
Because that linkage, that's what demonstrates the paranoia wasn't just free-floating.
Right.
It became the vehicle for political hatred. When you discuss Lance's notes, with phrases like federated and fed-related are right next to what looks to be the word CIA.
Yeah, creepy stuff.
You're showing the concrete mechanism right there. The psychological fragility was the fertile ground, basically, where this radical, violent ideology took root. And doing that elevates the critique beyond just moral condemnation. It becomes a powerful, evidence-based commentary on how modern radicalization can actually work.
Makes sense.
Okay, let's shift focus now to the strategic narrative purpose. The material spends quite a bit of critical energy, maybe too much, on internal political and ideological fight. And this risks fragmenting the audience and, more importantly, diverting focus from the main goal, honoring Charlie Kirk's memory and furthering his mission.
I do get why the author felt the need to defend the staff, though. I mean, the material makes a really strong case defending Mikey McCoy and Tero from those betrayal accusations.
It does.
Clearly explains the trauma response, mentions the gag order preventing them from speaking out. That defense feels important, necessary even.
Agreed. It's crucial context. However, the weakness is that substantial chunks of the material then get consumed by attacking figures seen as, right-wing opponents.
Right.
Like Candace Owens for pushing portrayal fantasies, or Tucker Carlson for interviewing Nick Fuentes. This focus on the infighting, arguing about whether Carlson should have kicked the butt of Fuentes for praising Stalin, it just creates a really convoluted narrative.
Yeah, that kind of internal skirmish, it just generates noise, doesn't it? It ultimately distracts from the assassination itself, from the sheer weight of evidence against Robinson and Twigs.
Exactly.
It shifts the whole center of gravity away from Kirk's legacy and onto these, frankly, secondary ideological squabbles.
So the suggestion here is to streamline the rebuttal of these internal critics. Instead of these long, drawn-out condemnations, maybe use more of a fire-and-forget approach.
Okay, how would that look?
You state the critique someone's making, like they are diverting from the mission. Then provide the concise factual refutation, like the point about Mikey McCoy's trauma response in the gag order, and then pivot straight back to positive action, aligned with Kirk's legacy.
Ah, I see. So use that segment defending staff like Mikey and Tero as a strategic jumping-off point.
Precisely.
You state, look, their actions were trauma-driven, legally restricted, end of story. And then immediately highlight the positive stuff. Like the material mentions TatumStore.com, the efforts there, raising, about $500,000 for the Kirk family?
Yes, that pivot is absolutely essential, because by demonstrating that act, the fundraising, the continued push for Kirk's core beliefs like being pro-Israel, faith, American values, is the real answer to all the foolery being critiqued.
Right.
You align the audience back with the mission, and you minimize the time spent dissecting the specific, distracting claims made by these ideological rivals. Who cares about parsing Nick Fuentes on Stalin in this context?
Yeah, prioritize the positive counter-narrative. Focus laser-sharp on the mission and the legacy. That maximizes the audience alignment and makes those internal political divisions look exactly like what they are. Just minor, distracting noise.
Okay, so wrapping up, this material is clearly built on some deeply compelling facts and a real personal commitment, but its persuasive power really hinges on some strategic refinement. We focused on 3 key areas for maximum impact.
Right. First was stabilizing that authoritative tone, making sure it matches the excellent forensic evidence you've gathered. Basically, let the facts speak for themselves more often. Second, really leverage that Twigs case study. Use it to deepen the cultural and political critique by explicitly analyzing that merger of psychosis and radicalization, and maybe explaining some of that jargon like orchid denialism.
Exactly. And finally, realign the focus. Use that fire and forget method for the internal political rebuttal. Minimize the distraction and prioritize promoting the positive efforts, the legacy, and the ongoing mission of Charlie Kirk.
These are definitely concrete, actionable steps. They're designed to really elevate this narrative, which feels crucial. We're genuinely eager to see the strengthened version of this important work.
Apply this critique, refine the piece, and please submit your revised work back to us. We look forward to saying, we'll see you next time.